study CINCHONA. Another name is China. Persons who has suffered much from neuralgias due to the malarial influences, suffered much from anemias, weakness due to the hemorrhages, prolonged or repeated hemorrhages, leading to pallor, weakness and cachectic states, which can be avoided by prompt action of China. Throughout the body, there is gradually increasing sensitivity, gradually increasing irritability of nerves. The patient will say, "Doctor, what's the matter with me? I don't know. I am always so nervous." Everywhere there is twinking, tingling, tearing, cutting pains in the limbs and any part of the body. And he is so sensitive that his nerves can be sometimes outlined. A little nerves in fingers that can be outlined. China patient grows increasingly sensitive to touch, to motion and to cold air, so that he is chilled from exposure. Pains are brought by touch, motion and cold air, cold wind. Old malarial conditions that has been suppressed with quinine, gradually increasing pallor, bloodlessness and cachexia until he is catching cold and becoming sensitive to cold and suffers much from liver troubles, bowel troubles, stomach disorders and is made miserable by everything he does. He cannot eat fruits without disordering his stomach. He cannot eat sour things. He is debilitated, weak, waxy, bloodless, anemic, and a person who easily breaks into sweat after least exertion. The China patient bleeds easily, bleeding from any orifice of the body, nose, throat, uterus, and after hemorrhages, complaints come on. Running through the remedy, there is a constitutional state, is a tendency to congestions and inflammations of the parts that bleed or of distant part. For instance, a woman who aborts and has hemorrhage without any provocation, she develops inflammation in uterus or of lungs. With these inflammations, there is great irritability of the tissues, pains, cramping pains, muscular pains, and even the convulsions set in. When China patient bleeds a little, for instance, a woman in confinement, right in the midst of bleeding, convulsions come in. You scarcely need to think of any other remedy than China. Sequel core is one another remedy that has it, but these two remedies are quite different. Sequel core wants to uncover, wants to open the windows even in the cold weather, whereas China is very sensitive to cold. If a draft of cold air blows on China patient while in labor, pains stops immediately and convulsions may come. Another feature about the inflammations is its rapid progress and intensity. Inflammations going quickly to gangrene. Inflammations after hemorrhages, parts rapidly turn black. After hemorrhages, we have dizziness. It is a natural consequence of loss of blood, dizziness and fainting. With proper diet, the patient recovers. But here in China patient, the patient goes from bad to worse. She doesn't recover. She has vertigo that is persisting for days and weeks after hemorrhages, and China will restore. All these complaints we find in broken down constitutions, in feeble, weak, especially sensitive women, sensitive to odor of flowers, of cooking, of tobacco, with weak, relaxed heart and feeble circulation. Dropsy runs through the remedy, anasarca and dropsy of shut sac. The peculiar thing of dropsy is that it comes after hemorrhages. In anemic conditions, directly following the loss of blood, dropsy appears. Periodicity is regarded a very important indication for China. Pains come on with great regularity and every day at the same time. Intermittent fevers come with regularity and run a course. The part of its periodicity is aggravation at night and at midnight. In colic, if the colic comes regularly at 12 o'clock, China can be thought of. A woman suffering from colic and bloating of abdomen every day at 12 o'clock at night. After suffering for many nights, China was given to her and she was restored. Hemorrhages coming from nose with regularity, diarrhea at night, black bloody stools at night and in daytime only after eating. This is also a peculiar symptom of China, that is aggravation after eating. China is indicated after loss of blood and loss of animal fluids. The people who are suffering from sexual excesses and secret vices, they have become feeble, weak, irritable and sleepless. There is weakness, general coldness, jerking, cramping of the muscles, epileptiform convulsions, rush of blood to head. On slight provocation, there is fainting and ringing in ears, darkness before eyes. In such nervous and sensitive people, there is weakness of memory. He cannot remember the things. He misplaces the word, uses wrong sentences, and there are fears of animals, fears of dogs and creeping things. And fears are more at night time. At night he lies awake making plans and theorizing the things, air castles at night, and when after sleep he wakes up and he wonders how he could think such things. After sleep his mind becomes very clear. To understand the mind of China, Dr. Vitholkas has written in his book that China people are usually artistic type, like poets. They are closed people, withdrawn and silent people. But they have a big imagination. These China people, when they go to bed at night, they will reveal the whole day situation and they will replace the sentences, the speeches which they could not say or do in daytime, they will replace at night with their great imagination and will become the hero of the situation. We have two more remedies, natrum mur and stapes aureus, who also think about the past things. When they go to bed, they will also review the day's story. Natrum mur think always the dark side. Everything will be dark. Natrum mur patient goes to bed, she will think, why did they do to me this thing? They should have done that to me. Why she did not say good morning to me? Like that, she will see the dark side and will be upset and will be tearful. In Staphylococcus, when they go to bed, they will think about the sexual relationships, which will drive them to masturbate. China is a little crazy, little mad, with big imagination. They fantasize the wonderful world in their imagination and is the hero of the situation. But when they wake up in the morning, their mind is absolutely clear and they see the reality and they dreads the work. And this reality is altogether different from what they have imagined. China patient is self-sufficient in emotions. They don't need the approval of others. And Natramur is not so independent so far as emotions are concerned. This remedy is full of headaches, congestive headache in broken down constitutions. There is coldness of extremities with body covered with sweat. Cold air strikes the head and headache comes on. There is pulsating headache in temples, throbbing, pulsation and sensitiveness along the course of nerves. Patient is better in warm room and aggravated by jar and motion. Even the turning in bed aggravates the pains. Slightest touch aggravates the head and hard pressure ameliorates the headache. There is aggravation of headache at night, periodical kind of sick headaches. Patient cannot write or slight jolt or jar aggravates the headache. Hard pressure ameliorates and light touch aggravates. This is the peculiarity of China. And headache is aggravated at night and scalp is sensitive to touch, profuse sweat on the scalp and headache after sexual excesses or loss of animal fluids. Sometimes there is canine hunger in China, but commonly there is loathing of food, aversion to food. There is loathing of food with violent hunger or want of appetite with hunger. Aversion to bread, aversion to all kinds of food. Taste is extremely acute. Bitter taste in mouth, even food taste bitter. Thirst is peculiar. Patient will say, I know my chills are coming because I have a thirst. Thirst before chill. And as the chill comes on, there is no thirst. When the patient begins to warm up, again there is thirst. So the patient feels thirsty in these two lapses. And after the sweat breaks up, he feels extremely thirsty and he cannot get enough water. Thirst before and after chill. Thirst during sweat stage. There is no thirst during chill. There is no thirst during hot spells. You will cure more cases of intermittent fever with ipecac and nux vomica. China has well-defined chill, heat and sweat stage. Gastric symptoms after eating fish, fruits and drinking wine. There is distension, flatulence, extensive flatulence, almost to bursting, and no relief by passing the gas. This is such an extensive flatulence, loud belching with no relief by passing air. In carbohydrate, after belching, there is some relief. In tympanic distension of abdomen and stomach in low forms of fever. There is great soreness in bowel, cannot move, and sometimes followed by dropsy. There is vomiting of mucus, sour, bitter, of eructations tasting like food, bitter, sour, and diarrhea at night after eating, aggravation, and chronic diarrhea at night. Great quantities of flatus passing along with stool, black, bloody, watery stool, aggravation at night and after eating. Petroleum also has chronic diarrhea like China, but this is aggravation at daytime. Along the spine, there are sore spots and darting pain in the limbs, better by heat and hard pressure, and brought on by being chilled and touch. To sum up China, patient is pale, waxy, anemic, history of hemorrhages, neuralgias, diarrheas, great flatulence, aggravations at night, periodicity on every other day, and patient is very sensitive to touch, to cold, to motion, to jar, and is very reserved, closed. With this, see you next.